Hello, ladies and gents, children of all ages. Welcome back to another episode of Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast focusing on the solo career of Paul McCartney. I am one of your two co hosts, Andy Nichols, and joining me today is one of the co founders of Two Legs, and that is Mr. Tom Hunyadi. Good evening, Thomas. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, good leg?
Good leg, one leg, whatever.
Leg.
Yeah, I'm
The
good.
other leg.
The
Yeah,
other leg, yeah, I'm well,
yeah.
and
yeah.
yeah, here we are back. We're revisiting another countdown show, and
Right,
people
right.
love when we do our countdowns and top tens, and this week we are going to do another pretty cool, and we're going to do closers. But before we get to the closers, we wanted to just touch upon a couple of quick news items regarding Paul. We know that June 15th, Paul will be speaking with Conan O'Brien in New York City at a storytellers thing in Tribeca at the OKX Theater, which is already sold out. And I had no desire to go because I know what it's going to be. But we do know that a few friends of the show are
Yes.
going to be there and or try to be there. So Joan Borelli and Kyle Hand, if obviously we'll be in touch with you guys if you go and you're there, and we know Joan's going to be there, so we'll have Joan on. It's just more of the same. It's more of the same, and I know you
Right.
feel the same way, right?
I do. However, I mean, is he talking about his new picture book coming out?
Which is coming
So
out in June.
yeah, right. So I mean, what else can he tell us that that we haven't heard?
It'd be like that
I'm just
appearance at the
hoping
90
Conan.
Second Y.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Conan can do some, do his research or his team do their research and ask better questions, ask more challenging questions, and not just okay. Well, tell us about this picture. Why, what happened on this day? you know, I mean, I'm sure Paul's gonna already have his stories ready to go. What he wants to focus on, the pictures he wants to focus on. And then that's what's
It's
gonna
going to be
dominate
about the
the
pictures, and
whole
that, and
show.
if he's
Yeah,
talking about pictures, maybe that's great because maybe we'll get some new anecdotes that he remembered or something, and we'll, you know, it won't be the same old same old. He's not going to give a talk like he did at the 92nd Street Y. It'll be something. Okay,
right.
maybe it'll be a presentation. They'll show these photos. It'll spark a memory, maybe one that we don't know yet, and he'll go into a nice little story. That would be a cool event, but
It
yeah,
would. It would absolutely.
it's very exclusive, and we'll get the recap from somebody who goes there. But that's in June to tie in with the book, which is rapidly approaching. Feels like that book
Mhm.
announcement was a while ago, but we'll have
It
that to show.
was. It was. Yeah, we'll have that to show in June. I'm sure we'll do a review on that book as well. I mean, it's been the camps have been quiet, right? I mean, this book is the first thing that's coming out from the five camps, right? I mean, except for
Well,
obviously
Red
Red Rose
Rose,
Speedway have Speedmaster, but this is like the first major release of the year. I mean, nothing John, nothing George.
and other than a
Ringo, we're
Ringo
gonna get
tour
we're gonna get a
announcement.
new EP, yeah, the tour, and then a new EP this year. Are we gonna get Rubber Soul this year? Who knows?
We will,
So
we will.
yeah.
We didn't know, but this time last year we didn't know about Revolver either. So, but
Well, I mean, in a way, but in an interview, he did say he did finish Revolver, so I think we knew that it was coming. We just didn't know when,
when.
unfortunately.
So yeah,
So
it's been a quiet 5 months into 2023.
thank God because I got some picture sleeves here.
Well, I was just gonna
Cheap.
say, let's do a little show and tell here. Thomas
Mhm.
just got some really cool picture sleeves, and I believe a Holy Grail one that he's been looking for a long
Oh
time.
yeah,
So Thomas,
yeah.
show us what you got.
Well, the Italians do good picture sleeves.
They
I
do
really like
everything
this.
right. They do
Yes,
everything right. Come on.
here's Good Night Tonight.
Whoa,
Really cool. Yeah. Now this image right here
that's from
is
Wonderful Christmas
pretty
Time.
right, but it dominates just about every picture sleeve for this single. Okay. Now it's just cropped. They're usually cropped differently. Okay.
Gotcha.
So this image is pretty much dominates just about every Good Night Tonight 45. Okay.
Back
We'll go
cover
to
any image or no?
same image.
Same image. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And those who like the I'll show the label real quick. Those who like the
Little
label.
closer, please. Little bit.
Yes.
There we go.
It's getting
EMI,
closer.
EMI. Little
Yep.
little.
Emi.
Okay.
Yes,
Amy.
yeah, Amy. So we'll go to the Netherlands next, and we're looking at letting go
Letting Go Man with
here.
the
Which, yeah, this is this guy right here. You don't
Jeff
see on
Britton.
too
You don't
many
see
picture
Jeff on
sleeves.
too many picture sleeves.
Junior's Farm, and that's about it right there. So,
Netherlands
here's the
Letting
back.
Go with
Yeah,
of course Venus and Maz on the back.
marks. Yes, sir. Okay, and that's on
Um,
the capital. That's on the capital label.
the retro 50s label capital.
No, it's got the one we're used
The
to with
retro.
the
The retro. The
yeah,
retro
okay. Oh,
label.
all right. That's the one. All right, yeah. And then you got the red and yellow Venus and Mars right there. Okay. Here's one you might like, and this is going to Spain, and this is London Town for the single London Town. Okay.
Picture sleeve
Um,
of London Town with the
yeah,
London Town. That's
yeah,
cool because that's you don't see that
yeah.
too often.
No, not too often. I mean, I'll show you another one here too that has the album cover as the picture sleeve cover. But since the title track was the single, then
Right.
makes sense that you put the album cover on the picture sleeve. But so I'll show you that. So then I got from Italy is the Band on the Run 45. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the back there, I kind of like the font that they use for Band on the Run 1985.
In
Right
Italian.
there.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, and then you got the apple right there.
Yeah.
So
Little close. Yeah. Cool. I see.
yeah, I'll get a
Yep.
little closer if you want.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now the Holy Grail. This one
Let's
is
go.
it's yeah, and it's letting go. Okay. However, it's the picture sleeve is from '73. This is '73 Linda
Oh, that's
McCartney
the
right here.
okay. So that's Linda. This
Oh,
is
from the
Red Rose
Red Rose
Speedway
Speedway.
era.
Yeah, it's the red
Yes.
exactly Red Rose Speedway. Unfortunately, it's
Ooh,
got the
little
little rip,
little little
little
rippage
rip.
there.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the best condition I've seen one. So I'm really happy that I've got this now. Here's some other
Oh,
Spain
and then they give you the whole more
45.
singles to get, like
Yeah,
very much
yeah,
like the throwback to the Beatles
exactly,
Capitol albums.
exactly.
And what single
Right
do they show that
now,
you can get? Mary Had a Little Lamb.
the little lamb.
Win.
Win. Really cool. Now you would think that Junior's Farm would be the last Apple label you would see on a 45 from Paul, but actually letting go here from this is Portugal, by the way.
Wow. Okay, so you're getting a
Has
Venus and
a still
Mars song on an Apple
air
label.
Apple label. Yeah, exactly. And Italy actually with Silly Love Songs has a Apple label as well. So they were
Huh.
still continuing on, even though Apple had dissolved. Prior a couple years prior, they were still a few countries still were putting on the Apple label on some of the 45s. So
That's
interesting
it.
stuff.
That's it. MPL, you need to consult this man for your next 80-inch singles box set at 80 when the book is made on the singles because you got to get Tom because he's got them all.
Yeah. Well, not all, but trying to. But this is just. I mean, when I saw this on eBay for an auction, it was just like I am not, you know,
And it was only
making this
$5, right?
up.
It was only $5.
Exactly. It was only $5. Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
No,
But
the
I
tear on that is a shame.
yeah,
But what are you gonna do?
it is. Well, what it was is probably somebody had the price tag there or something, and because people
Back then it was
morons
probably
and they
it
put
was from Italy, right? So it probably had a little sticker, 49
no,
lira.
it's Portugal.
Portugal,
Yeah,
49
yeah.
pesos.
So
Rip gone. As they had a
uh,
little siesta afterwards.
yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
so good. That's
So
a good score, brother. More
yeah.
international singles that Tom has been on that rabbit hole with for a couple of years now, and scooping them all
Couple
up as
years.
he gets them.
Yeah. Trying.
Impressive. Impressive.
What was on that just ended an auction that just ended, and I was really ticked off that I didn't win it. It was the Choba 45 promo singles. So what they did was they took the 45 or the songs, turned them into 45s. This is
Oh,
pre-Run Double Run.
but it was kind
So
of like
they
what they
took
did with All the Best.
yeah, yes. Oh man, the amount it went for though,
How
I'm not
much?
gonna say.
Well, you didn't
I'll
get
tell
it.
you
You didn't
after.
spend it.
I know I didn't, but Well, listen, it went for over 200. I'll just say that.
All right. Wow.
It's 5 singles. Yeah, 5 singles. But they had the same image, different colors on the picture sleeves. Looked fantastic, and I'm gonna have to get one of those one of these days. But
Yes. Those Run Devil Run and the All the Best 7-inch singles box. I need those are the
yeah,
two holy grails. Two Leggers fans. If you see those on
yeah,
eBay or Discogs, please send a link my way. I have been trying for decades to get those. Decades, at least two.
it's a, they're a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Especially the All the Best one, which I know is super rare. I'm still kicking
Yeah, and our
myself over
friend
the who.
Our
Oh yeah,
friend John Blaney,
he's got one.
Has one. Oh, and just
Oh
so you
yeah,
know, I mean, he's
that's
update. Yeah,
yes.
he's talked about writing the book. I said the writing is finished. Now he's just getting all the images together,
So
and
those listeners and viewers that don't know, we're talking about John
yeah,
Blaney, who is the author of the series of books, Paul McCartney, the songs he was singing. And he's done these in a multiple different formats, like 4 volumes. He's done one in one
yeah,
volume, 2.
yeah,
And he's writing, much to the insistence of these two clowns on this show, to write a 5th volume. And he did
right,
it, and he's almost done with it.
did
So,
it. Yes.
um, thanks, John. And he'll be on the show again when that book comes out. And that covers everything from from the 2000s, right?
The tens, from 10 to 20,
All right.
2010 to
So, right,
2020.
from 2000, yeah,
Or
because what?
19. Or 19. I think it's going to be 19.
So, okay,
2000,
so,
so 10 years.
right, so, okay, so that we have that to look forward to as well.
Mhm.
In terms of the books. And God, there's been so much McCartney literature in the last 6 months to devour and read, isn't there? Isn't it crazy?
Yes, and there's more coming, which we'll talk more on a later episode. But,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, I mean, it's about time though. I mean, look, I mean, for decades, right? I mean, there was these little books that we talked about in the past, right? I
yeah,
mean,
the
and
little
then
paperback,
yeah, the little
dollar
paperback
store
ones.
ones. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, we start getting a couple here and there in the 80s, right? But they're
Salovic,
again three quarters Beatles, and then a
a
quarter of it
quarter.
is solo.
One more thing before we dive into our topic tonight.
Yeah.
Did you see or read? I think David said this to us, but did you hear earlier this week about the mono mix of Paperback Writer and how you can hear the typewriter sounds at the end of it? Did you go back and listen to it?
No, but we did hear about it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I completely forgot to grab it and take it with me into the car. But yeah,
that you
no,
only hear on the
right.
on the
Mono.
on the vinyl in this new in the new button and it's there. It's pretty interesting to hear that. But we did see it on the Hopfen forum, and it's like,
It makes sense. Makes sense
to
that
hear that.
you would that maybe they thought to do that, and then they put it in the mix. That's great.
To
That's
hear that,
great
just
stuff.
the
I
end
mean,
of the
that's
paperback writer, hear the
yeah,
little,
yeah,
wild.
that's
See here,
fantastic. That's
still
fantastic.
learning new stuff even over 50 years later, and that's why we love them. So, for today, we are going to dive into our top 10 album closers. A couple episodes ago, we did our top 10 album openers. We think this will be fairly routine, fairly easy.
Hmm.
I am sure out of the 10, we're probably going to match up on, I'm going to guess at least 4, maybe 5. Maybe. We'll see.
Over under 5. Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm going to, what do you say? What say you?
Well, I'll say over. I think we're
Over.
gonna match up on quite a few here.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is and again, we're talking main canon albums here, not live, not
Yeah.
classical, not Fireman. We're just going
And we're
main
not
canon
doing
albums.
yeah, we're not doing links. We're not doing hidden tracks, right? We're not
No.
doing bonus songs. So these
Right, we're
are
going off
just
the album
exactly
proper.
when
So if you're looking
mm,
at your
right,
1987 CD or your reissued CDs, we're not going with as the album properly ended. That's how we're going to go with it.
right,
So
right.
starting off at number 10, tell us what your number 10 was, Tom.
I will. Thank you very much. And the surprise of McCartney 3, right? When winter comes. This was an absolute surprise. I mean, I don't know too many people that knew about this song prior to its release. We're talking about Winter Bird, When Winter Comes. This was a fantastic gift from Paul. And I mean, either way, it was going to be here or on the Flaming Pie box set. I mean, I don't know if I what I would which I would prefer, but I liked that it was on McCartney 3. I mean, again, that was a real gift. I mean, hearing those great vocals. I mean, obviously we know his vocals now are not what they were, but to hear it those great vocals on a new McCartney record was just out of this world. And it's a good song. I really enjoy it. They did Jeff Dunbar, I think, did a really wonderful animated video
Yep.
For that song, and it's a fantastic track.
Certainly is, and
Yeah.
good little another great album closer. Number 10 for me, we're gonna go with a kitchen sink type of song, and we're gonna go with Morse Moose and the Grey Goose from London Town,
Nice.
1978.
Nice.
Love it or hate it, everything in there. Kitchen sink. Talk about Morse code and
Yes.
typewriter. Dun, 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 dun,
Yep.
boom, keyboards. Love everything about Morse Moose and the Grey Goose. Took a while for it to grow on me, but everything about it, Paul screaming, head on down to the bottom of the sea. Tell me you receive me. Maybe it was more, all that. And then it goes to the other bit. The Grey Goose was a steady boat. All that kind of sea shanty kind of stuff. So, and then it just ends. So I love. It's definitely the antithesis. It's not a big London Town like type
Right.
of track because it's different. So, but I love it as a closer. So that's more smooth. Number 10. Number
It's
9.
a great, yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Great collab. I'm saying it's a great collaboration between Denny and Paul. I mean, they were doing really good work. I mean, they hit their stride. I mean, by this point in time, I mean, they knew each other well, right? And they were finishing each other's tracks, as Denny had said in an interview. So good pick.
It's London Town's the apex of their relationship with their songwriting.
Yeah.
Clearly, after 7 years of collaboration. Number 9, Tom.
Number 9. We're going to go Through Our Love. Nice track, really nice track. Maybe should have been a little bit higher, but it's for me, it's one of the best parts of the album. And was it Pipe's piece? I think it's a great album opener and a great album closer. It's what's in the middle, really, for me. That's not all.
I'm getting to you. I'm getting to you.
Yeah,
It's getting.
yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Listen,
But
3
Through Our
years
Love
ago,
is
folks. 3
beautiful.
years ago, folks, he hated the album. Now he likes it a little bit more.
Well, it is what it is. Sometimes you go periods liking it and not disliking it and then liking it again. But going through this list and listening to songs again, Through Our Love. I mean, is it a great closer of an album? I mean, that's debatable, but I think it works for this particular album. And I cherish the song. I really do.
And I do too, because it's my number 9 as well.
There you go.
I think to your point about a closer, why it's a good closer, because it's got the big George Martin production finishes quality on it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Point.
It's got the big, the orchestras and all that stuff built into it for a real big finish. And in the middle of coming off the heels of Hey Hey, and Tug of Peace, it's crappy. Those aren't good. But hell of a closer of a track. And they even say that there's a little bit of a Morse code in that song. If you listen to the beginning of Through Our Love with the strings, listen to the beginning that. Yeah. They've said that is Morse code for some, I guess for love, or I think it's for peace. Actually, somebody can clarify. I read that somewhere that the beginning strings you hear in the beginning of Through Our Love is Morse code for peace. I don't know though.
Right.
That's my number 9 as well. Number 8 for Tom.
All right, we'll talk about production again. As we mentioned for these ballads or whatever. So I'm going to go with Venus and Mars. We're going to go Treat Her Gently, Lonely Old People. It's a song I've always cherished. I like that it closes the album. And I mean, I know we get the little whatchamacallit afterwards, the little jingle, Crossroads. Right. Yeah, which I don't count as the album closer. Again, that's the
No, but it is though. It is.
Yeah, but I don't.
When you listen to Venus and Mars, 1975, that's how the album closed. I know what you're saying though. It's not a real song. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm just counting
Count it.
the
Yeah.
crossroads, and I'm going with Treat Her Gently, Lonely Old People. It's our show. We can make our own rules.
Amen.
So I love the Treat Her Gently part more than I like the Lonely Old People part. But again, it's a beautiful track, well sung, and production wise, it's great as well. So I'm going Treat Her Gently, Lonely Old People.
At number 8, another great example of Paul taking two songs and making them one song,
Yeah, there you
which he
go.
does so much in his
Yeah,
career, and that's an early example of one of those. Good
yeah.
pick. Number 8 for me, a song that Tom likes to use to close our shows with, and that's
Hmm.
"Great Day" from
Yeah.
Flaming Pie. Track number
Mhm.
14 on Flaming Pie, much in the vein of When Winter Comes, that same kind of vibe to close out an album with a little bit of a
Mm,
acoustic homespun ballad to send you off
right.
into the night or the day after you've listened to the 45 minutes or an hour of worth of music. Great Day is a song that's had lasting impact for me to listen to it after the hugeness of Flaming Pie, and a couple of songs that are not. I mean, it follows "Beautiful Night," which is tremendous. A beautiful night, great day. So it works out really
Right.
well, and it closes a classic album. So it's got to be on a top 10 closer list, in my opinion. Great
Yeah.
day.
No. And I'll say my piece on it in a couple minutes. But
I'm sure you will.
uh,
Let's hear your number 7.
number 7. It's a song I didn't care for as a closer, but I really come to appreciate it now because we're over the past few years, I've listened to this album more and more as we're anticipating an archive release for it. We're crossing our fingers at least, and that's Baby's Request. Um, again, I think it's an appropriate album closer, and I really dig the song more. I love the track, just the line, just one more song, and then we'll go to bed. I love that line, and it kind of like fits, closing a track, and I get it. I mean, for a while there, I'm like, what is this kind of like crooner song is closing an album, and but when you really listen to it lyrically, I think it fits, and
Mm.
I think it's a fantastic album closer now these days.
Bum, 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 bum,
Yeah.
bum, bum, bum. Good pick, partner. Good pick. Yeah, I had a feeling you might pick that one. I did.
Yeah.
Number 7 for me. I'm gonna go maybe with one that's not so obvious. I'm gonna go all the way up to 2005. I'm gonna go to "Anyway" from Chaos and Creation in the
Wow.
Backyard. Just thinking about closing tracks, and sometimes that's there's another one where it's two. You got "Anyway" and then a kind of hidden track with the "I only have two hands" bit. I'm not counting
Right.
that. I'm just gonna count "Anyway" as the main song.
Right.
A lot of people think that it's a reworking of "People Get Ready," which
Mm.
I can hear similar.
I
Do you hear
Yeah,
that or no?
maybe. I mean, honestly, I don't give it much thought. To be honest.
No, I it's not often where Paul does close his albums with big ballads. He has before, obviously, with "Through Our Love" that we talked about. So when he does, it's either like big ballads or it's little acoustic stuff or something like
Right.
"Morse Moose and the Grey Goose" or like Morse Moose and the Grey Goose
Right.
or "Queen of Corey," where they're really,
Right.
really like far out type close.
Yeah.
So you've
Far
got
out.
those
Yeah. Yeah.
categories, right? Those
Mhm.
acoustics or ballad or big ballads. This is one of the big ballads. Which I think it's a great track anyway, and I love the lyrics of it. I love how it builds, big crescendo, and then you think the song's over, and it's not, and it goes right into this whole big instrumental thing towards the end of which is not listed on the CD at all.
Mhm.
Um, did anyway make your top 10?
No, it did not. No, it's
All right,
not. I was
good.
actually surprised you picked that song, and that's great. It's good that we have you know different stuff.
A
So
few,
I love that.
a few
Yeah, a
differences,
few.
but not too many. But anyway,
Different. Yeah.
from Chaos and Creation in 2005 at number 7 for me, 6 for
Yeah.
you.
6 for me is you mentioned it already. Great Day. For the longest time, I wish the two tracks were reversed. Beautiful Night
Mm.
and Great Day. I've come to accept Great Day as a really really strong album closer. and you're right. I mean, the acoustics of it, and I love Linda's backing vocals on it, and it's a fun little track. I think it's a great way, a good, nice, positive, way to end a very strong album from Paul. And I think we all should, look at songs like these and just aspire to be, have a great day. And
And
it's great. It's
to
fun.
have a great, always have a great day. And when you listen to it in the context of Paul and Linda, and especially when you watch the video footage from the In the World Tonight
Yes.
documentary, and Paul and
Right.
Linda singing "Great Day," and she's harmonizing
Mhm.
with him,
Yeah.
and she's dying. It's pretty moving, you know.
Yes.
So he's trying his
Agreed.
best to have a great day. What he's going through. So the song takes even on more than
Yeah.
than just a song.
When you put it in that perspective, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. So
Yeah.
I knew you would have that in there somewhere.
Yeah. As Eric Idle said, you gotta look on the bright side of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, number that was number 7.
6.
That was number 6 for you. Number 6 for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay a little more modern McCartney. I don't know how modern it is, even though it's now it's 10 years old. I'm going with the ending track of 2003's. I'm sorry, 2013's New Road, which I absolutely love as an experimental track in the vein of Morse Moose. I love the ending track on New Road. I think what Paul does in that track, the vocals, the pianos, dun 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 dun. It's a very dark song. His vocals are really obscured. They're almost sound like they're muffled when you're listening to it. We came from nowhere, and
Yeah.
it's like running down a street or something. Listening to Road, right? That's what it sounds like
Right.
when you listen to it. And it's Paul doing something totally different outside of his
I
comfort zone.
agree. Totally different. Is it more like a falsetto voice in that one too? Isn't it?
At times, yeah. At
Yeah.
times, yeah. Okay, he starts out low, then he'll go high with it,
Right.
So, and it has a really big finish. So, Road to me is one of the best songs of Paul's last 20 years, which I think we've talked about
Wow.
when we did that, and it's easily a top 10 closer for me. Number
Wow.
6, Road. I guess you
Yeah.
didn't have it in your top 10.
No. No, and I'm just like, yeah, this is great. Awesome.
Well, listen to it again. See what you think.
Yeah.
That was 6 for me, 5 for Thomas.
All right. Top 5. Well, you talked about this track earlier. I mean, this is a head scratcher. First time you listen, I would love to see people's reaction to the song the first time they heard it as an album closer.
Morse
Um,
Moose.
yes, yes, sir. Morris Moose and the Grey Goose is my number 5. I mean, it's almost like, head scratching, like, at the 76 tour with him ending with Soily. It's what? What do you, I mean, it's a great rocker, but you're gonna end it with something nobody's familiar with, and that you have that this feeling with. I mean, you're not familiar with anything with this track, although with this it's really raspy vocals in there.
Yep.
I cherish that, but yeah, I mean, you talked about the track earlier, and I thought it's fantastic. I've really come to love it, especially as when you first started. One of the first albums we talked about was London Town, I believe, and then you had
Yeah.
that obviously you had that big the poster in your old home,
Yep.
and it's
Oh,
album. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So again, as we're anticipate the possible release of an archive release for this album as well. Um, Again, London Town and Back to the Egg are two albums that I've really come to love even more over these last 5-6 years that I've been doing the show. So,
yeah. It's a great pick, and I'm glad that we both had it because it's such an awesome track. 6.5
yeah.
minutes long. You've just listened to mostly an hour of low key, folky, chill,
Mhm.
late 70s synth, happy, poppy stuff with an occasional rock or so. And then you get to the end of that and you go, especially after a song like Don't Let It Bring You Down, which is really like mellow. And then you hear
Right.
that and you hear that song and you're like, whoa, it's like a little left turn. Whoa.
Right.
No, so that cracked your top 5. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent.
Really love it. Yeah. Really
Excellent.
like it.
Excellent. 5 for me. Again, in the vein of in the vein of Great Day, and When Winter Comes, I'm going to go with 1980's One of These Days from McCartney 2. Yeah, as my co-host smirks, it's either next or it's his number one. It's one of those two things. I don't know. But it's either his next track or it's his number one. One of These
Right.
Days is, again, you've just listened to McCartney 2, full of experimental music, synths, crazy stuff, and then you hear a nice gentle ballad. It's like the reverse of London Town, right? It's the
Yeah.
total reverse of London Town. London Town was calm, 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 crazy song at the end.
Mhm.
McCartney 2, crazy, mostly all crazy stuff, and then you hear a really nice gentle ballad called One of These Days. It's there, it's now, it's to be found by you,
Yeah.
by me.
Yep.
Um, with Linda providing, really kind of very lightly backing vocals on it, which are just awesome
Hmm.
to die for. It's all we ever wanted to be, and then it just fades out, and
Hmm. Hmm.
it is the perfect album closer. And let's see where it is on your list.
It is number 4. It's next.
It was next. I knew it.
It
I knew
it was
it.
next. See what's right, see what's there, and breathe fresh air ever after.
Yes.
Very poetic, very again, kind of like, maybe Great Day a little bit, or When Winter Comes, you know, Dear Friend, something so soft, subtle. It's a beautiful, again, I think it's another, uplifting, positive track. One of these days when my feet are off the or on the ground, off the ground.
Hey, that's right over there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna look around and see. I adore this song. Really
The
adore it.
bridge especially.
Yeah,
It's there,
yeah.
it's round, it's to be
Hmm.
found by you, by
Exactly.
me.
Yeah,
It's all we ever wanted
yeah.
to be. Boom. What a
Right.
great bridge. What a great
And
bridge.
again, thanks to I gotta thank the archive release of this album.
Why?
You know, well, because listen, McCartney 2 was something I never played a lot of. Okay.
Huh.
So when the archive release comes out, and then get reacquainted with the
But
album,
did you
this,
know the song One of These Days before 2011 or
yeah,
no?
yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
listened to I had the album, okay, but
Okay, so
again,
it's like
it
you knew it.
wasn't.
You knew
I
it.
knew it, but I just didn't pay attention to it, right? It was just like another one of his soft little ballads,
Right.
when the archive release comes out, and I really started paying attention to it, and it's beautiful, it's awesome, it's excellent, great closer.
Awesome closer. One of his best, and that's why, not surprisingly, it was in both of our top fives. Number 4 for me, Tom mentioned it 5 songs ago. I have it a little bit higher, and that's the closer and Treat Her Gently, which again I'm going against myself because we said Crossroads, but I know what you were saying, and there's a reason why
Right,
I have Treat Her Gently, Lonely Old People on there as well. After the hugeness of Listen to What the Man Said, Tom Scott wonderfully
right.
playing that, the sax on that and going out to it, and then fading
Mhm.
right into Treat Her Gently. And I do agree with you. The Treat Her Gently bit is a lot better than the Lonely Old People bit. Treat Her
Yeah.
Gently is one of his strongest. And in fact, if you have the 1974 bootleg, the piano tape, there's a really raw, raunchy demo of him just hammering away on Treat Her Gently. Real, just banging
Yeah.
it out on the piano. Treat her gently, treat her kind. It's not lonely. He doesn't have Lonely Old People yet. It's just
Mm.
hearing him sing Treat Her Gently. And that's the kind of stuff that was missing from the archive. Even though the Venus and Mars archive gave us a lot of, good value for dollar, things like
Right.
that would have been awesome on there.
Things like that are missing from the archives, period.
You
You know?
gotta go YouTube it. Go YouTube the Paul
Yeah.
McCartney piano tape from '74. You've
Mhm.
got Million Miles on there, Mull of
Yes.
Kintyre.
Right.
I'm sure you've heard some of it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, isn't I'll give you a ring on there as
I'll
well.
Give You a Ring is on there too.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
to hear him just hammering away a beautiful melody like Treat Her Gently, and then pairing it up with Lonely Old People,
Mm.
which is good, but it's not nearly as good as Treat Her Gently.
Mm.
I do like to hear We Sit, Two Lonely Old People, Nobody Asked Us to Play, and then boom, fade out.
Yeah.
Ending really, um, I mean, in a lot of ways, sometimes I think it's the Wings LP that I listen to the most, even though I know that's not true. But ending Venus and Mars, which is just so iconic and such a great
Mm.
closer, which is why I put it
Mm.
at number 4. Number 3 for you.
Number 3, everybody thinks this is the response to How Do You Sleep? Not necessarily so.
Mm.
Even though it came out afterwards, this was more of a response to all of
Recorded
the
before it though.
press. Yes, yeah, yep, absolutely. This was more of the press fighting. What there's the war of words in the press. So this dear friend is more of a statements. Say, hey, why are we doing this kind of thing? Let's
It's them doing
or
it.
is it
It's
true?
them doing it.
Or is it true?
Or is it
Yeah,
true?
it's true. Yeah. Which again, I mean, how do you analyze that lyric alone? Or is it true?
It's a
What
song.
what it
Go ahead. Keep
yeah.
going.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, what is it that's true? Dear friend, pour the wine. I'm in love with a friend of mine. Um, you know, again, it's we get to interpret what we think it means. Um, but again, we know it's about John because he's talked about this as a
And he has.
response to all the fighting in the press.
But it wasn't a response to How Do You Sleep because it
Mm.
predates that.
Right, right, exactly.
I got to say, partner, good pull. A really high
Yeah,
ranking. I didn't even have this in my
yeah,
top 10 at all. Really good pull.
mm, yeah.
It's for a song that's what six and some odd minutes,
Yeah, it's a
right?
little long. I mean, you could probably cut a good minute and
Right
change off of
now,
each track.
and the lyrics are very sparse. Dear friend, what's the time?
Right.
Is this really the borderline?
Time,
Does it really mean so much
line.
to
Yeah.
you? Are you afraid, or is it true?
Is it
Like you
true?
said, throw
Right.
the wine. So it's lyrically, it's not that, but there's so much into
Very
it.
vague. Very vague. Except
Very.
for the is it true? I mean, that is what interests me so much about this song is like,
Does
why
it
is
really
he
mean
asking
so
this
much to
question?
you? Are you
Yeah,
are you
right.
afraid, or is it true?
Afraid. Or is it true?
And
Yes.
nobody really picked up on that in
Right.
'71 and wrote about it. And nobody took the ball and said, "Oh, he's talking about John here." Nobody said that.
Yeah.
We listen to me like we were alive. I'm sure people felt that. But it wasn't written about. Um,
Right.
Now you had a really nice version of this come out in 2018 with the orchestra
Mm.
up, which was Richard
Yes.
Houston's orchestration, which you had, I believe, it was a digital download from McCartney's site. It wasn't included with the box
That's
set.
true. That's right.
It
That's right.
wasn't. It wasn't on it wasn't on the archive, but you had to download it. But it was an orchestra up
Mm.
version of Dear Friend to hear a little bit more orchestration on it. See, everybody thinks
Right.
because he orchestrated Long and Winding Road, Paul just 86'd him. Not true. He brought him
Not
back.
true at all. Exactly.
He brought him back. Good choice, partner.
Well, he brought him back before that. He brought him back for Thrillington.
He did. He did, which was someone as we now know from reading the McCartney legacy. He brought him back again. So everybody thinks, oh, he the guy that did orchestrate Along the Winding Road. Paul, no, he did. Paul's issue was with Phil, not the orchestrator,
Right. Not
because
Phil.
Phil was the
I
guy
mean,
in
yeah.
charge.
Exactly. I mean, Richard didn't know that Paul didn't want
No,
that.
Phil Spector calls up producers and says, "Can you come
Yeah.
in and do this?" He's gonna go, "Okay." He's not talking to Paul McCartney, so why? It's
Right.
it's just cool that Paul didn't really hold a grudge against him because he was just he was a hired gun, and Paul knew that he was good, and he was just following a clown basically. Although Strings on Long and Winding Road is still the better version. Sorry. Yes. Number 3 for me. We're going into
Yes.
big gun time. Big gun time.
This is it, right?
Heavy
This is it.
guns, and
Heavy
I'm sure.
hitters.
I think out of the top 3, you and I are going to match on 2 of them.
Okay.
And this one is the closer to Band on the Run, 1985.
Okay.
Maybe it's Tom's number 1. Probably is.
You see.
1985, wonderful bookend to Band on the Run, thematically. As we read in the McCartney legacy, it was really not much of it wasn't really much lyrically,
Right.
but then it evolved, and I believe it was a song that really got worked on in London after they came back from Lagos. It was not really done down there. From my reading Alan's book, they
Right.
did it when they came back to finish the album up in EMI in probably, I want to say, September or October of '73, and got the album ready to go. So I think that's when they finished it. And I mean, again, lyrically, it doesn't have a whole lot. No one left alive in 1995 will ever do. She may be right, she may be right, but it works. It's a very cinematic piece, full of orchestration. All the big stuff. Again, it's got that George Martin kind of feel to it, even though George isn't on it. Big
Mhm.
crescendo, big finish. But just to hear that opening piano keyboard, dun, 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 it really sets the mood for the whole piece. And one of the best album closers of all time at number 3. 2 for you.
Speed along the highway, honey, I want it my way. The closing
Oh.
of Ram. The backseat of my car. If you do not like this song, I just don't understand it. I mean, look, I mean, this is what people were expecting from Paul McCartney. I mean, this kind of song, I think, we got McCartney right. I think people were confused by it. Except for, maybe I'm amazed, obviously. But then
Mm.
you hear, Ram, and you hear this. I mean, this is Abbey Roadish. I mean, don't you think? I mean, this is just
100%.
top tier McCartney, production wise, singing. Now I think it does go a little long. I mean, you got
No
the
way.
Lord of the you got the the 20 Lord of the Ring endings, going on in this with this track, you know. But maybe it could be just a touch shorter. But I think this is an absolute gem of a track. I think it's a gem of a closer, and this is just, I mean, pure McCartney, as they say. Everything
Oh,
about this track, love
oh
the
man.
ending. We believe that we can't be wrong. I mean, what, are you kidding me? I mean, that's great. It's phenomenal.
Well,
Love it.
and that could be another subtle dig. Lennon thought it
Yeah.
was. Lennon thought
Oh,
it
Lennon.
was.
Oh, well, you thought the whole album was about it. It should have been. You probably thought, oh, she might as well just call it John.
Not
Instead of
Ram.
Ram.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's everything about it from the start, the beginning, the strings, the piano playing, his singing on it, the falsetto. We believe that we
Mhm.
can't be wrong, and then all that goes on to it. And then you think it's over, and then it's not. I kind of like the fake out ending. I think it's over. Oh, it's not. And then you hear this kind of like gunshot drum sound, boom, boom,
Yeah.
and then there's a screaming shout out to finish, and Ram is over, and it's like, mic drop. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye. Seriously.
Right.
Um, it's not my number 2, but I'll get to it. But my number 2, my number 2 is the medley from Red Rose Speedway.
Yes, of course.
We're talking about album closers.
I know, but I am expecting that to be your number one.
No, it's not my number 1. It's my number 2. Um, the medley. I don't have to say
Right.
enough. People that watch Two Legs and listen to the show know that I love the medley. Hands of Love, Hold Me Tight, Lazy Dynamite, Hands of Love, Power Cut. I think is some of the strongest melodies, songwriting, craftsmanship ever done. And I know there's people out there that agree with me, and there's people that don't. And since 1990, when did I buy the CD? 3. I have felt this
Mhm.
way. I have felt this way since 1993 when I bought it at Tower Records in Greenwich Village in New York City. I remember buying it. I still have the receipt. And I remember listening to it going, this is the best thing I've ever heard. This is the best thing I ever heard. I felt that way I was 12. I was 12. It was 30 years ago. I still feel the same way. But it's not my number 1. But I know it's not on your list. Number 1 for you.
It's not on my list. This is right. So you don't mind the repetitiveness of hold me tight, hold me
Nope.
tight. I mean, no, okay.
No, because it goes on for about 2 minutes. Hold me tight, love me tight, boom, and then you're into another song. Just before it wears you out. Hold me tight, hug me tight. And I know that might sound, but then it's and then boom, hold me tight, boom, and then again, then actually starts going. You won't be going out tonight, and then I think it's great.
Fantastic.
He's like,
You
yeah.
do. I know you think it's great, and I love that. I respect that.
Let's
Okay.
hear it.
For me, there's only one number one. As much as I love the backseat of my car, I mean, for me, this is the perfect album closer because it ends where it starts, and that's 1985.
Okay.
Um, you know, it's I love this track. It might, as much as I love No Words. I mean, this might be my favorite track on the album. Again, like you said, I mean, it's not much lyrically, but musically, oh my God, it's a powerhouse of a track. And then you listen to that ending, and you got some really nice little guitar licks going in there while it's building, building, like you said, and then it crashes, and then you go
Boom,
band on the run.
boom. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, kind of ends like a concept album when it's not really a concept
All
album,
right.
So,
Dun
but
dun dun dun
I
dun
think
dun
this,
dun dun
yeah,
dun dun.
yeah,
Wow, band on the run. I mean, come on.
exactly. Yeah, I think I think it's the only logical number one, in my opinion. Um, I know obviously you're going to have something else as number one. Hopefully it's something that I
Well,
have. I mean, it's kind of
it
interesting
is.
to see how many songs we shared here.
Well,
But
I've been keeping score. I've been keeping
yeah,
score.
I
So
know you do. I know you have, my friend. I know you have. But yeah, exactly. There's just I love that do 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 that opening piano bit.
the
I love
riff.
when he plays it. Yeah, I love when he plays it live. It still works for me. It's still like the song. It's one of the very few songs that still on Band on the Run that still works for me. I still can get off on that track. You know what I mean? I mean, as great as Band on the Run is, I know we get tired of it. But it's we know it's phenomenal, right? The other what are the other great tracks
Jet.
on that Jet? Jet again. That's another track that I still really really appreciate. Okay, but I mean, if I don't hear it for another year, I'll be fine. But 1985, I mean, and just I'll listen
She
to that
may be
song a
right.
couple
She may
times
be
a
fine.
day.
She may get love, but she's going to
Make
get
me
money
love,
because
but she won't
I
get
got
mine.
you.
Yeah.
You
Again,
know.
and those that the vocal stylings of Paul McCartney on that song, off the charts,
You know,
off the charts.
he was doing a little more whoa whoa whoas in that, but a little bit
Y-
differently than My Love. You know, whoa,
Yeah. Oh,
a
yeah,
little bit different than whoa 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 whoa
yeah,
like My Love, but
yeah,
like, great song and
yeah.
so cool. And thank God he put that back into his set list around 2012. Thank
Yeah.
God that came back into the set list, which I think was the first time he did that. Might have been that 12-12-12 concert, I think, or
Mm.
maybe right before that. But I remember around that time, I'm like, he's playing 1985. Next time he's in New
Wow.
York, I gotta go.
Mm.
Awesome pick. I knew it was gonna be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
My number one, you already mentioned it. It was your number two, backseat of my
Yeah.
car.
Mhm.
Because it was my number when we did our top 101. It was my number
Yeah.
one. It was my number one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you listen. You've said it all. The Beach Boys influence, the harmonies, Linda's work on it. The we it builds up. It starts off slow as a slow ballad, then it builds up. You know, uh, and then it goes back to the ballad and goes back. And then builds and again builds up. We believe that we can't be wrong, and it goes into all of that
Yeah.
for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
I can't have much to add on to it because you said it all, but. The closer on Ram, backseat of my car. I think Paul knows. I think he knew it was a great track to close it with it.
Yeah.
Again, one of those awesome what did get a single release in only the UK.
UK single. Yeah.
UK single release. One of those. That's one of those magical songs that would be a great like to see in a set list. It's never going to happen, but if it could, it would be great. Some of these big ones that were wasn't a huge single. It was only when in the UK. How did it do off the top of your head? Do you remember?
Yeah. No, not off the top of my head, but it wasn't a hit. It wasn't
Right.
a hit.
But I mean, bravo to include it as a UK single because
Right.
it's an incredible track.
Now I
To
need to check it out real
check
quick
it out
here
real quick
because
as we wrap up. But backseat of
yeah,
my car, you know, the teenage stuff. The sitting. Here we are,
yeah,
just busy riding.
Us Against the World.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that aspect of it.
very much him and Linda.
Right.
Because that was it's just the two. Again, so big in the big of the in the dust up of the Beatles breaking up.
That
That's
peaked, yeah.
what did it do?
Peaked at number 39.
39. Yeah, so top 40,
Yeah.
top 40 track, and a great song, and
Mhm.
yeah, Back's in My Car, number one. So I had it at one, you had it at two. So
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I love that you had it that high. Love that you
that's
had it that high.
that is our top 10 album closers, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, let
They're
us know in the
yours.
let us know in the comments. Give us your 10 album closers. What did you agree with ours? What did you disagree with ours? Probably many of mine. That's fine. Used to that. Um, so just let us
Never.
know what your
Mm.
top tens were. Thomas, tell us what's new in Talk More Talkland and anything else that you might be
We
doing.
Yeah, thank you. We had a really interesting chat this past Monday, and it's something we've been talking about for a while, and we really didn't know how to present it, but we just like screw it, let's just do it. Throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. And it's called is the sum greater than the parts? And it's more or less, we talked about the solo career. Andy, you have mentioned before, there's these people that they're the Beatles and they're just Beatles, right? They don't give a hoot about the solo careers. They just want, Beatles, and that's this kind of show. The show was kind of, directed towards them, trying to say, look, I mean, there are tracks that are just as great, right, as Beatle tracks.
Yes.
Now, are there albums just as good as Beatle albums? That's debatable.
Sure.
But there's a lot of great tracks out there that can rival or surpass Beatle songs. I think Maybe I'm Amazed is as good as any Beatles song, period. Right?
Yep.
There's a lot of tracks. My Sweet Lord. I mean that's just as good as any Beatle track in my opinion. Even better.
Jealous guy.
Jealous Guy. There you go. There's plenty of tracks. So
It.
that was a really fun conversation.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I've said that. I just feel having gone to a few fests in the last few years.
All right.
No, there's a lot of people just go. They're just Beatles people. They don't want to know anything about the solo at
Right.
all.
And the music in the lobby, what are they playing? They're only playing Beatles songs.
That's
They
it.
only play Beatles songs. They don't play solo anything. It's all Beatles. And I understand that it's best for Beatles fans. I get that. But you know what? They had, their
There's a
solo
lot
careers
of
lasted
music you're
long.
missing out by four people
Right.
that are pretty damn talented.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And then I'm working hard. I had the we're really working hard in getting a movie channel going. And every time I come up with a new name for it, I look on YouTube to see if someone has it, and it's already taken. You know what I mean? So I'm really struggling right now with what to call it, and I'm hoping to get it going. I'm probably going to postpone. I was hoping this weekend, but we got a lot going on the next week, so I'm thinking I'm going to have to postpone getting it up until till next week. And but yeah, you've seen The Room. Big
Mm-hmm.
film fanatic. So really hoping to get
More
that
movies
going
than
soon.
than records, folks. Believe it or not, he
Yeah,
actually's got
yeah,
more films than albums
yeah.
and CDs, and
Hmm.
I can attest to it.
So yeah, I mean that's what's going on right now. But you've been a very busy person lately, and you just did another appearance on Ken Michaels' radio YouTube channel, and it was a really fun show.
Yeah, different kind of show. Ken Michaels invited me and Dylan Seavey, who's a friend of our show and collaborator and contributor to our music, along with Jeff Slate, New York City musician, journalist, and we did a podcast or a show on Ken's channel about the relationship between the Beatles and Bob Dylan, which we thought would be just one episode, but clearly it needs to be at least two, maybe three. Who knows? And we just did this last night. We're recording this on Wednesday. We did it on Tuesday, and it's already on Ken's channel. And we spoke for about an hour and a half. And I was kind of the newbie, because I've only been really deep with Dylan for the last 5 years. Only really hardcore, casual before that. But I've spent the last 5 years reading every major biography, watching every film, and listening to every album, and buying every album. So
No
I
Direction Home isn't no direct. You've seen No Direction
oh,
Home, I'm sure. Oh
Scorsese,
my God,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
great film, right?
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, do you have that? Does that get a criteria? Do you have that or no?
No, it's not on Criterion, but yeah, I do have it. Yeah,
You do have regular
yeah,
Blu-ray?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was great. I mean, and Jeff Slate, if you don't know, look him up. He actually conducted an interview with Bob Dylan last year
Last year.
to promote the songbook that Bob put out, the autobiography of the song of the modern song. And it was great. It was a great conversation. Dylan Seavey and Jeff they've been they've worked with Bob, and Dylan Seavey he has adored Bob since childbirth. So those guys really know their stuff. I kind of was just like, hey, I'm watching, but I really enjoyed that interview, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. And that's over on Ken Michaels' radio YouTube channel. Give that a look. Other than that, and I also was on his trivia show. I
Yeah.
think 2 weeks before that, and I'm going to be on that again to defend my title.
Yeah.
So we'll see who that's going to be against. And other than that, that's it. I have.
Oh, I do have a question for you. Are you being the Yes fan are you giving the new album a listen?
I'll give it a listen on streaming, and then I'll determine. I saw a headline today that said it's the best Yes album in 25 years. I'm like, okay.
I'll be the judge of that.
We'll see about that. I listen.
Yeah.
I listened to the 2 tracks that came out. They sound
Mhm.
really good. They sound
Okay.
they sound good. But when that vocalist starts singing, he just sounds like John Anderson, and
Okay.
that's kind of where I get off the train a little bit. It's just hard for me. Musically, it sounds awesome, but
Hmm.
to hear a carbon copy of Anderson when the real guy's still out there kicking butt, it's tough. So you knew they were releasing a new album?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't miss it on Facebook. I mean, you follow certain people, who also like, that genre, the prog scene, and
Right.
yeah, of course, I knew it was coming out.
Yeah, Mirror to the Sky. So I have some Yes related content on my other channel, Andy's Music Vault, The Other Leg. I did an interview with Kevin Mulrine, who wrote a whole book on just the Tormato album, which is also coming out May 19th. And he joined me for a chat a few Sundays ago. That's up on my channel. And I also interviewed the drummer of local Yes tribute band, Total Mass Retain, a friend of mine called Joe Cass. And he's a real connected guy, knows the band very well. And, he's in their inner circle. And he was great. And he went to the shows that I went to see John Anderson with the Band Geeks, and they're both up on my channel as well. So yeah, I've been pretty busy.
Hmm. Yeah. I've been getting into a little bit of a Van Morrison kick. Now, there's his 3 albums. Not his first album with Brown Eyed Girl, but
Oh,
his Astral Weeks,
Astral Weeks.
Moon Dance, and his choir band. I think it's called. I can't remember at the moment. But those 3 albums I absolutely adore. I did pick up another one called Saint Dominic Preview, which had the hit Jackie Wilson Said,
Mm.
which is a great single for him. But the rest of the tracks are far out, and I'm just gonna discover more Van Morrison. I'm in a Van Morrison kick right now, so I'm really gonna look into
It's
his
great. It's switching off to other
his
artists and
discography.
genres is it. That's
Yeah.
that's what it's about. That's why we're able to do what we do. You find other artists, you spend down a few weeks or a few months or a year down the rabbit hole, and then you learn more. Like I did with Harry Nilsson about a year ago. I did the same
Yeah,
thing with him.
that's
So,
right.
you know,
Which, if you haven't seen that documentary on
oh
him, oh man, you got to see it. And I think it's
yeah.
on Amazon Prime.
Now it's
I
on
think it's
Prime. It was
getting
on Netflix.
Prime.
Who was Harry Nilsson? Why is everybody talking about
Yeah.
him? Tremendous documentary. What a forgotten star, and really, missed out on a lot of due credit. But he gets in that documentary, so check that out. But that's gonna do it for us here this week on Two Legs. For Tom Hunyadi, I'm Andy Nichols. We will see you next week for episode 208, which is going to be a very fun one. We're not going to tell you, but we're going to have another guest author on with us. Talking about a really cool book. She's written a lot of books, and we're going to be talking about a very specific period and an era in Beatles and Paul history, and we'll have that next week for you on our show. So for Tom, I'm Andy. We will see you next time. See ya.
Listening to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan